So we're talking about draw strokes. And draw strokes are used to move your boat laterally. Moving the boat forwards and backwards is pretty intuitive, but moving the boat laterally, such as when you're pulling yourself up to a buddy or pulling yourself up to a dock or away from a dock, anything like that, draw strokes are really helpful. The idea behind the draw stroke is you're going to reach out pretty much straight out from the hip. The more vertical the paddle shaft is, the more actual lateral pull you're going to be able to exert on the paddle. So at first it may be a bit unbalanced to reach that top hand right over. You can start with it a bit lower, but ultimately you want to get that top hand right across the paddle shaft as vertical as possible and then pull water to the hip. Now before your paddle reaches the side of your boat where it can get pinned and actually flip you very easily, you have to release the pressure off your blade. And there's a couple of ways to do that. You can either just slice the blade out behind you, or you can do what's called a T-stroke, which involves curling your wrists 90 degrees so that you can slice the blade back to where it started and take another. A couple things common problems that happen for people, they'll pull in and rather than the boat moving laterally, the boat turns. And if the boat's turning, it means you're not pulling directly into your hip. You're pulling either too far forward towards your knee or your foot, or else too far back, what's called a stern draw, and it pulls your stern around and spins you the other way. So make sure you're pulling right at your hip. Different boats will act differently. If you have a rudder in, you may actually have to pull slightly behind the hip. You just have to figure out the type of boat that you have and the type of draw stroke, where exactly to pull your draw stroke to deal with that boat. Another type of draw stroke, which is even more effective than the T-stroke, is the sculling draw. And the sculling draw lets you pull yourself laterally constantly. You get steady pressure from your blade. The key to sculling is that your paddle will travel on a path about 2 feet out to the side of your kayak. Again, you want to get your top hand across the boat and get your paddle as vertical as possible. Now, when your paddle is pushing forward, you want to open up the edge, the leading edge, so that the power face of your paddle is catching water. Once you get to around your toes, you'll rotate your wrists and then pull back. Again, the leading edge is away from you so that your power face is catching water. And that sculling motion there is going to draw me sideways. Way to think about it is it's just like buttering toast or spreading peanut butter on bread. Your leading edge has to stay higher. If it doesn't, then it's just going to dive. It's going to cut into the bread. Your paddle's going to slice into the water. So the same idea. I keep the leading edge higher, and I just do that on a vertical plane, and I can apply steady pressure and really move myself sideways quickly.